Okay. And then we can get started. So Verena mentioned earlier, we want to try and make it a little bit interactive, the presentation. So I wondered to begin with if any of you are actually able to locate the UDE. Now, depending on what version of Zoom you're on, you should hopefully have the function. There's like a little picture of a pen that you can comment or annotate. And you should be able to, it depends on your version, you might have a little stamp. So I'm gonna, if I use, just to show you a little stamp, I can do that. So maybe you could try and see if you can work out, where do you think the UDE is, the University of Duisburg-Essen? Where would you put it on the map? If you haven't got the stamp function, you can maybe use the text function, put a little X. You could, I think there's a pen, you could do a scribble. No cheating and checking Google Maps.
So where can we find the pen or the stamp?
For me, the pen or the comment, it's in the black like toolbar of Zoom. If you're on an iPad, there should be a little picture of pen that you can click, and then it opens like a toolbar. Hey, thank you, Barbara. You've worked it out, a little scribble, I think. Not going to give anything away about how well you've done. See if anyone else can manage to put a little mark on the map. If you're having troubles with the commenting or the annotating, then you could write in the chat if it's working or not. Be nice if we could get a few people who can figure it out. Did you find the pen on yours, Verena?
No, I didn't.
Commenting.
I'm still looking for it. It's probably I have an older version of Zoom.
Yeah, maybe it depends on the version.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can, maybe the rest of you might be able to figure out in the course of the presentation, you might find it. Otherwise, I guess we can, the rest of the questions we can answer in the chat. We'll shout them out. But this one, all of the pressure is on Barbara. Let's see how you've done. I'm going to have to delete the marks to move on to the next slide. And you can see, oh, sorry, I have to turn off my own stamps. And you can see you actually did very well. Very well indeed. Yeah, congratulations, a definite winner. So Duisburg and Essen, it's actually two cities that are located in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, North Rhine-Westphalen. So it's up in the northwest of Germany, quite close to the border with the Netherlands and with Belgium. So it's really a great location right in the center of Europe. You know, it's within 3 to 4 hours, you can be in Paris, Amsterdam, Brussels. You can see on the zoomed in here that it's actually a real highly densely populated area. There's lots of interesting cities close by. You can see on this map, we've got Düsseldorf and Cologne right at the bottom there. And then here in the middle, we've got Duisburg and Essen, the two cities that give the name to the university. Okay, so like I mentioned, it's in the northwest of Germany. It's a real big metropolitan area, and it's in a part of Germany. In Germany, it's called the Ruhrpott. So it's traditionally an area, a very industrial area with lots of coal mines. The coal industry was a very important, part of the tradition here. And over the last years, what we've seen is the transition from coal to culture. What they've done with quite a lot of the old coal mines is made really interesting museums or parks as part of the areas. And so it's a really vibrant area. There's really a lot going on, and it's got excellent travel links. So these are just some pictures for you to have a quick look. This first slide here is of Duisburg. Duisburg has, I think I'm right in saying it's the largest inland port in Europe.
It is, yeah.
So that's this top picture here is we've got the theatre there. This is what I was talking about, or one example of what I was talking about, where they've made some really cool features of the previous kind of industrial things. This is the Landschaftspark Nord in Duisburg, and it's really worth a visit if you're in the area. If we have a look at the next slide, be some pictures of Essen. So you can see that as well as, you know, the history of the coal mining history and the industrial history, it's also a really beautiful area with lots of green space. On the left here, I think, is it the Baldeneysee? A beautiful lake.
Yes, it's the Baldeneysee, yeah.
Yeah, there's really some beautiful lakes around in the Ruhr Valley, lots of green spaces, and as you can see in the middle there, like Old Town in Essen, and just a panorama of the city. So if we move on then and have a look at the campus, I've lost my mouse. Okay. This quiz, even if you can't get your annotation to work, your stamp to work, you could write your answer in the chat. Which of these do you think is a real name for a UDE building or a room? Where might you have a lecture or a meeting at university? Would it be in the Pine Tree Green, in the Biscuit Tins, T01, S01, B01, or in a cinema? What do you think? If you can work out your annotation settings, then you can feel free to put a little mark on the one that you think is the real one. Oh yeah, well done. And if you can't get your annotation or your commenting to work, you could feel free to put it in the chat. I'm going to wait for some answers in the chat this time so that not all of the pressure is on Barbara to get the right answer. We've stumped you. It's maybe a difficult question. Okay, maybe you guys are waiting to try, are still working out, but can't get the annotation going. What I can do is I can tell you, you are not wrong. Let me just remove the commentation so I can move to the next slide. You're not wrong. The answer is, in fact, all of them. They're all real names of buildings. So if we have a look at the Pine Tree Green, you can see on this page. So this is a collage of photos from the campus in Essen. And the building that we're looking, excuse me, the building that we're looking at here is the T building. It's really the T building, but it's also called Tannengrün, which would translate to be the Pine Tree Green building. The campus in Essen is a quadrangle, is a purpose-built campus, a quadrangle of buildings, and yeah, it's got a really beautiful green area in the middle where students can meet, relax, have a coffee, do some sunbathing, do some studying. So that's a really nice yeah, feature in the campus in Essen. What you can see in the top right photo, the Cinemax is actually very, very close to the campus, the cinema, and we were speaking last week, Verena and I, to a student who was telling us that she had lectures in the theatre, in the cinema. So yeah, she said some students were even eating popcorn. So that's quite a fun feature. Then if I move on to the next slide, it's some pictures of the campus in Duisburg. And this one here, these are the biscuit tins. We call them the Keksdosen. The campus in Duisburg is a mixture of purpose-built buildings and more traditional buildings that are already here, but also it's got a beautiful green area. Yeah, a real nice feeling on the campus in Duisburg. And the last one, the one that Barbara had mentioned, the T01, B01, S01 would be a room number in the T building. So in the campus in Essen, it's always fun trying to find the right room. You've got to look for the colors and the numbers and the letters. Okay, so we're going to move on to some facts and figures. It's a guessing game. Can you guess the numbers? We've got some facts for you, and we were going to see if you would be able to guess the numbers. What I might do is, I think it's going to be difficult if the annotation isn't working. You could write it in the chat. You could have a guess. How many, if we go for the cafes, we'll go for an easy one. We'll just do one in the chat, maybe. Feel free to write in the chat. How many cafes do you think there are on the campuses in University of Duisburg-Essen? 25, we wish. we wish. That would be good.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got some more answers. That's great to see some answers coming up in the chat. Okay, so we're thinking it's a high number of cafes that we're going for. So for a high number of cafes, how many total number of students do you think that we have using these cafes? $11,000 is one of the answers in the chat. I don't know if the chat is visible in the recording. Maybe not. So 11,000 students is one of the guesses that we've got for the students. And the guesses for the cafes are between 11 and 50. For the number of students, I can give you a hint that it's quite a big university, one of the bigger ones in Germany. If anyone else wants to have a go. I think everyone's just sneaking off onto Google to check the answer. So I'm gonna move on to the next slide. So there's no chance of that. Okay, so you can see it's a really big university. We've got over 40,000 students at the University of Duisburg-Essen. It was actually formed by the merge of two separate universities of Duisburg and Essen. So maybe that explains in some part how it's such a big university. In the Times Higher Education Young University rankings, up to 18, and the percentage of international students at the UDE is 19%. So it's a real nice, international feeling at the university. There are 19 dormitories. The dormitories, though, are run by a student services organization. They're not run by the university itself. There's a student services organization called Studierendenwerk, and they run the dormitories, but they also service other universities in the area. So they're not exclusively for our university, but there are 19 that students from the UDE could apply to. Only 9 cafes. I'm very disappointed at the number of cafes that we've got compared to the number of guesses. I'm assuming that your guesses are based on high numbers of cafes on in your universities. So I'll hope to come and do some visiting one day. And 11 faculties we've got here at the UDE. And I think we're moving on to look at the faculties in a bit more in depth now. Oh yeah, another question. So 11 faculties, but how many letters are there in the longest word in the name of a UDE faculty? So you know that German is a language that's famous for its long words. So could you have a guess in the chat? How many letters do you think there are in the longest word in the name of a UDE faculty? Keep going with it. Annotation, well done. So we've got 27, 27, and 13. Any last minute guesses? I can tell you, you're actually spot on. 27 is the right answer. It's the Fakultät für Gesellschaftswissenschaften. Gesellschaftswissenschaften being the longest word. So let me just wipe this and then I'll show you the overview. Here we go. This is the overview of the faculties that we've got. So you can see the spread between the campus. We talked earlier about the campus, the main campus in Essen. I showed you some photos of that. There's also, I should have mentioned, the University Hospital in Essen, where the Faculty of Medicine is based, and yeah, Campus Duisburg, where I'm currently sitting and looking out on a rather gloomy day in Duisburg, I'm afraid to report. So this is the overview of the faculties on offer at the UDE. If we move on to look at the study programs now, I'm just going to stop sharing this. We have a little image film from the university that I can show you. Oh, I lost the screen share. Here we go again. Okay.
Laura, the sound's not there.
The sound's not there. Oh, thanks for letting me know.
If you share,
I have to click
like
this
when you share
button.
the video, yeah,
Yeah.
there's the little button on the left-hand side.
Let me just wind it back to the beginning. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's go.
You're facing the decision of a lifetime. You want to discover yourself. You want to make a difference. But the future is uncertain. You observe. You network. You improve. You see the details and challenges. For yourself and for the world. You study. You research. You develop. You are part of a strong international community and one of Europe's biggest metropolitan areas.
Studiere Deutsch und Geschichte.
Studiere Maschinenbau.
Studiere Soziologie.
Study Civil Engineering.
Studiere Literatur und Medienpraxis.
Studiere Mathe und Sport auf Lehramt.
You design the future. You make the difference. Study at UDE.
Okay, so in the video there you could see just an overview of the courses. What we've also got here is a link on the slides, and we'll be uploading the slides with all of the links. And when you open this link, then you can see, yeah, in the middle we have the list of the courses, but also I think it's quite a good function on the right-hand side here. It's broken down into subject areas, or you could break it down into the bachelor or master's courses. You can check what language, you know, the instruction, language instruction, and search that way, or by the start of the semester. So that's a useful link for you if you're advising your students. And I'm going to switch back to the PowerPoint. There we go. Okay. Yeah, and as well as the study programs available at the UDE, there's also some extra support for our exchange students. So yeah, I mentioned that I'd be likely one of the first points of contact from the Central International Office, but also each incoming student has a faculty coordinator, so somebody who can be an academic supervisor for them and who can be responsible for questions, you know, subject related or particular to their own faculty. Each semester we organize welcome days for all of the new international students, and that's a good opportunity for them to meet each other, but also to mix with yeah, German students and also international students who are coming for their whole degree here. Part of the welcome days are run by the Tutor Service Center, the Tutoren Service Center, which is yeah, run by students for students. So it's they offer activities, they have lots of get to know you sessions, they do trips, they have social things, but also information sessions. So that's something that's really useful, especially for international students. And also we have Fachschaften. It's like student committees for each faculty. So each faculty will have its own Fachschaft or student committee, and they're really involved actually in, yeah, they run their own welcome days as well. They're like a point of contact for students within their own faculties. As well as all of that, we have a Café Lingua, which is a, well, at the moment it's an online language cafe, but hopefully that will be returning to in person. It's a really relaxed, informal setting to practice languages. So there will be different language tables, and students or guests can go and sit at the table of the language that they would like to be practicing. There'll be a moderator, someone just to make sure that the conversation is flowing, but it's a really relaxed and informal way of practicing a language and, you know, meeting people as well. Then there's a language tandem program, so it's a slightly more formal way of practicing a language where you can be assigned, you know, one particular partner, and you can work on each other's native tongues. And then we have the buddy program, where we, for each international incoming student, we'll pair them up with a regular German student or a regular student of the UDE who has volunteered to take part in the buddy program, and they're especially helpful in the first, you know, days and weeks to help people get settled in right at the beginning, and, you know, to show all of the insider knowledge that that is so valuable for students coming to stay. Just move on to the next slide. And I'm going to hand over to Verena to talk a little bit about the exchange opportunities that we have at the UDE.
Yes, right. So first of all, we're just like within Aurora, we are in the process of signing my multilateral Aurora mobility agreement. So this is in addition to the existing Erasmus agreements, and hopefully the agreement will be signed in Tarragona, and then we can send students around like to our partner universities within Aurora. So this is an excellent opportunity to send students to UDE then. And then, of course, we're having Erasmus agreements with quite a few of the Aurora universities. And if you're advising students and you're interested in establishing an additional Erasmus agreement, just let us know. We always very much like to conclude new Erasmus agreements with our Aurora partners. And of course, we do offer internships. We're also part of the internship program within Aurora. And if you have students who are interested in doing an internship at UD at one of our faculties, just let us know and we'll check whether there are any availabilities at the faculties. Then, of course, we do offer summer schools. We always offer, like we always send our offers also to Aurora, because there's always the central website with all the summer schools at the Aurora partner universities. So we're just in the process at the university of setting up our summer schools for the next summer. I already know that there's a summer school in the in our sociology department on global and transnational topics. So if this might be interested for your students, we'll be very happy to send you further information on that. And in case the Aurora Mobility Agreement isn't signed at that time when you want to send your students, we are also happy to accept free mover students. Then we would have to contact the faculty first in order to ask them whether they willing to accept the students. But like for Aurora, they're usually very flexible, and we're sure that we are hopefully able to offer them placed at our university. Yes, so far.
Yeah, thanks, Verena. So then just moving on to the final slide to mention just a little bit about finances. The German DAAD, German Academic Exchange
Service.
They recommend, or they've published this information that German students have average expenses of 819 euros a month. They actually say that the cost of living for international students could be a bit lower than that. It could be from 725 euros a month. They were saying the averages that they've worked out here is including all of the things that you can see on the slide. What's not included in that price is the semester contribution. So in German universities, everybody has to, all students have to pay a semester contribution every semester. And for the UDE, the current semester contribution is 320 euros, around about, for the current semester. But it should be noted that that includes a free travel ticket for free local transport. So that's actually the main cost of the semester contribution.
Yes, and for the whole state of North Rhine-Westphalia, so not only locally, so they can travel like to Cologne and the south of Bonn and to the north to Münster. It's very convenient usually for the students to travel around and see loads of cities and just really use it for the weekends.
Yeah, definitely, it's a really good deal. Oh, and I should also mention that the food in the cafeterias, the lunch times are subsidized. So the cafeterias are run by the Student Services Organization that I mentioned earlier, who run the dormitories. And the lunchtime, the meals are subsidized. And so the prices for students, I was having a look yesterday, if you were going for like a full meal, it's between sort of 3 and 5 euros. For lunch there. Yeah, so that concludes the information part of the presentation. I'm aware that we've been racing through, so the advantage of that is that we have lots of time to answer your questions now. So if you do have any questions, please feel free. You can write in the chat. I mean, Verena, if you're happy, I think we're a small number. If anyone is happy to turn on the microphone and wants to ask a question, I think that's fine too.
Of course, I think that would be great. Yeah. So, Laura, how many incoming students do we host at UDE per semester?
It varies a little bit between the winter semester. We have usually more coming, and the summer semester it's often a little bit less. So we're looking at around about 250 students per academic year, and it'll be broken down to about 170, I would say, in the average winter semester.
And probably if you want to send your students, what you should note is also the semester dates at UDE. They might be slightly different than the dates at your university because we're starting quite late. So the semester has just started at UDE at mid of October, and then it runs till February, and then there are exams usually from mid of February to mid of March. And then we start again in April, and then to mid of July, and then again exams, usually September is off for the students, and then we start again in October. So just be aware of that, because like for our students, it's usually best to go abroad in the winter semester, but probably for your students, it might be better to attend a course at UDE during the summer term. So
there's a question, are there lessons for students from abroad in English? It varies from faculty to faculty. I would say that most, if not all, faculties do have courses in English available. They tend to be in the master's area from experience. So if you have students who are interested in coming, who would be able to take master's level courses, there might be more English language courses available.
And there are loads of English courses available in the engineering department. because we've like a program which is half English, half German there. So there are quite a few courses available there. Yeah, and then it always depends on the faculties. Some of the faculties do have their own course catalogue with their English language courses. So probably it's just best to contact us, and then
yeah, we can put you in touch.
Yeah. So do students need to have a C1 level of German to study at UD?
So no, with the exception of students of medicine and students of like German language studies, the language requirements are usually very flexible. I think in most agreements, or most of the time, we require a level of German to enable you to follow a class. So there's no formal, we wouldn't formally, check a certificate, apart from the Faculty of Medicine, and if your students were coming to study Germanistik, which is the German language.
So of course, it's always advisable if students take only lessons taught in German, it would be good to have a level at least of B1. So if they're coming to UD on Erasmus exchange, we won't check any certificates, but in order to pass the classes and the exams, it would be good to have a good command of German. But I mean, it always depends whether they take courses in German or in English, but definitely not C1 except for medicine and German language.
Yeah, that's correct. So, you don't have to pass any specific exam. We don't check certificates apart from the Faculty of Medicine and if you're studying Germanistik. Other than that, we don't check language certificates. Obviously, your students will get more, students will get more out of it, of the exchange, the better that they can understand what's going on. So a good enough level to follow the classes.
But then, of course, we also offer language classes free of charge during the semester, and you can sign on to them like when you're registered at the university, and this might be helpful then to improve your level of German while you're studying.
They're popular, the language classes. Yeah, and computer science would be in our Faculty of Engineering, which Verena mentioned earlier, has got a wide range of classes, also often English. So they have the International Studies in Engineering stream with lots of English or German classes.
And usually if it's a technical subject, it's also easier if you don't have like a very high level of German, because like if you study history or like in your classes in German, you might have loads of reading assignments and also you have to write essays, and it might be more difficult than if you study mathematics or engineering or computer science.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I thought that it could be easier to speak in this way, not by the chat.
Yeah, that's great.
I just wanted to ask if this applies to all the study programs or just an Erasmus?
It applies to all of the study programs. The language requirements, you mean? Or, well, in general, the information?
Yes, that's it.
So if you come as an exchange student, it applies to all of the programs. Of course, if you want to study for degree, then the requirements are different. So then you would need to have a C1 level.
Okay, so if I want to finish my studies there, I need the C1 degree in German?
Yes, right.
Okay. Okay, so thank you very much. The information of the study programs will be somewhere so I can...
Yeah, so there's a link on the slide, the study program slide. I think all of the links, the presentation is being uploaded, right?
Yes, the presentation will be uploaded, and I can also, I will just check and write and put it in the chat.
Oh, great, thanks.
Yeah, just a minute. Okay. There you are.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're
Cheers.
welcome. Yeah, so we're happy to take any further questions by microphone or in the chat. One other thing that I could show you, might be interesting, is the student residence, the dormitories. So we have, I mentioned earlier, it's run by the Student Services Organization, the Studierendenwerk. It's not run by the university ourselves, the dormitories, but yeah, these are the dormitories that we mentioned earlier. There's a lot of them in total, and then the Studierendenwerk has like a special area, a special application area for exchange students or for visiting students, to make it possible for them to find, you know, short-term rental agreements for just 1 or 2 semesters. That's run by the Studierendenwerk.
So then if you come to UD as an exchange student and you've been nominated by your university, we would send you all the information also on the accommodation and the application for accommodation. So you don't have to apply like before applying at UDE. We will send you all the information after.
Yeah, that's right. We will send you an admission letter and then all of the information for how to apply. With the admission letter, then you can apply for the accommodation, and we it's a separate organization, but you know, we're in close contact with the people who run the accommodation, especially for taking care of international students who are coming for 1 or 2 semesters.
Because after we've received the nomination, we would also always send them a list so that they know which students are exchange students. So to make sure that every student who would like to receive, who would like to live in a student accommodation also gets a room.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that covers everything that we wanted to say, all of the information that we had prepared for today. If there are any more questions, do feel free to get in touch. I'm just going to show the last slide with our contact details.
I just did put the link to the to all the Aurora University sessions in the chat. So if you want to follow any other presentations, just follow the link, and there you'll find the Zoom link and the schedule for the presentations.
Perfect. So thank you very much for joining us this lunchtime for a quick tour or a quick introduction to the University of Duisburg-Essen. And we'd be very happy to hear from you or your students if anybody is interested in coming to join us.
Thank you.